Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Vermont House Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. It is Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 at 1:03 in the afternoon. So we're back from the floor and caucuses and lunch, and now it's time to continue our discussions on our budget letter appropriation. And just so everybody knows, we've taken off 733 for this afternoon. And we moved the H512 markup and vote to 345, so that gives us now until 330 or 345, depending on if you want to break or not, to get this budget letter done. So again, we have our legislative counsel with us, Rick Sagal. Letter together. I think we signed off on this last thing we did.
So sorry.
I think it was,
I'm working on my technology here.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, you got a note right here.
Got the sync.
I know. I'm gonna turn it off my alerts.
and so
Okay, so Rick Sagal with the Office of Legislative Counsel, and I am just going to, let me summarize what we've done so far, or just straight to where you left off?
just where we left off.
And I have not had a chance to work on this at all since I last saw you all, so this is gonna be organized in a hopefully better way, but for now, we are in the part of the letter that does not have items in the budget currently. These are requests that the committee is making.
So the Advance Vermont, the 600,000 that they're asking for, the request is actually for my future VT and graduate with a plan. So they want to develop another part of my future VT with providing, and I think that's where the hiring of more FTEs to go around the state and work with seniors that are, and I think it's not just seniors, but students in general, to come up with a plan for graduation.
I mean, I'm very supportive of that. Have we finished discussion of that or are we moving?
No, I think we can, I mean, that, there was two parts to it, so.
Yes, you're right. If I can just comment, I think it's a critical piece. It fills a real gap between what DOL is able to do and what the Agency of Education is doing. And while I'd like to see somehow at some point it integrated, in the meantime, it's a real need and I think it needs to be supported. I think it's a very high priority. I think the idea of using some of the reversion funds from DOL is a good idea. But one way or another, I very much support that request.
I agree with you. Any those people's thoughts on number one, using reversion dollars that DOL is sending back to for the $600,000 request?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I do too. And I like,
And priority. What's your priority thoughts? Herb thinks high. Everybody
Yeah,
there?
I would have to go with her, but I think, one of the things I've been looking for is, do we have any redundancy? And this is one of the few places where we really don't. There's no one else doing this, so I think this should be a very high priority.
Maybe. Okay, high priority. Everybody good with that? Is Jonathan on?
Mhm.
Yeah, part of what I'm trying to understand is whether this is a program that is more or less assisting all of those, the state colleges, the university, the agency of education and VDOL, et cetera. And if it's like a purpose built organization that's meant to address that, or if what we are funding is a program of a nonprofit organization that isn't, like, is it entirely dependent on state resources? Do they have other revenues? And that's sort of where I'm trying to understand who the entity is. I think the work, as you described it, is important. So, I can definitely be comfortable with high priority designation.
So Advanced Vermont started under VSAC years ago. And then it's moved out of VSAC on its own with state resources and other resources as well. They've been able to get other grants. So it's not entirely funded by the state. It's one of the resources, financial resources that they have.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, and my sense is that it was started, to fill a gap. And if we don't fund it, we'll revert to having a gap.
There's been a gap for a number of years waiting for JobLink to come online, where it still isn't fully capable yet. And the investment that the state's made into My Future VT is not for naught. That information at some point when JobLink does go live on their new system can incorporate what My Future VT has been doing all these years. So
Is that the plan when JobLink goes live? Is that generally?
yes, I believe it is.
Yeah.
I know that I've heard that from Tom,
Mhm.
and I think DOL has said that in the past as well.
Yes, we don't want to lose that, those like years worth of
Right.
of data.
Yep. Okay. I think when we start talking about state colleges, UVM, VSAC, I think we can make one line is that we support governor's 3% increase in their budgets. And I don't think we have to delve into all of their programs. I think that if we do, that we support the governor's budget and support the 3% increase in their
Is it a base?
their base funding.
Okay.
I just have a question, Fran. It might be different under different item. It seemed to me that the serve earn learn folks.
That's under parks,
Something
Forest Parks and Recreation.
It just seems related to me.
Yeah. But it's always been funded through Forest Parks and Recreation.
Is your concern that we have all of these like job training programs kind of spread around? I think I also share that concern, but I also think the Office of Workforce Development is working on.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that that's running in the background as we're continuing to do the work.
Yeah, I hear you that, and that would be great if somehow a lot of these sort of disparate things, and they might be funded in one agency or another agency, so we'll lay out high hopes for the board.
That's a good point.
Clarification on the 3%. You said UVM, is there a category that we're,
No, it's the budget. It's the base funding for UVM, Vermont State Colleges or Vermont State University and VSAC.
trying to figure out how to word that?
Well, I think you could put the higher ed, and then I think you could say the committee supports the governor's recommended 3% increase to base funding for UVM. Or, yeah, you can.
Trying to get a little bit of reference, okay?
cap agencies.
A priority or no?
Yes.
Question potentially related, not related, but hireability. Since they also deal with the colleges, but I'm guessing that goes to human services and not to us. I gotcha. Thank you.
I mean, we can certainly put in there, we support hireability.
I think so. They lost their allotment money. Their federal.
Federal dollars.
Yeah, they lost $7 million and they're struggling. And they do a lot of critical work, with development staff.
And then they came in, talked to us just on the ADA awards, but they really haven't come in to talk to us about their budget.
Yeah.
Okay, cap agencies. No, we heard, I think we did receive an email from them. Well, we requested some more information.
Yeah. She did.
Was, were there some big jumps in this one this year?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah, it's 1.150 total.
that's in their base, right? Is that in their base,
It's the new request.
top of their base, okay,
And it's $500,000 on financial coaching, $500,000 on micro businesses, and 150,000 for VITA. And they said they'd come back to us with weatherization, but I don't know that we ever got.
the other documents was, this was the total.
Yeah, but some of it's in the budget and some of it's not.
I see. I think this is what's in the budget, right? So. That's it's in the spreadsheet, so the total was just over 2 million. But what is in the
That's in the
budget is
But
about
it's
a million.
1.1,
Yeah.
that's not in.
so we're looking for an increase for,
I guess we want to talk about the total.
well, I think we can support base funding. And I think the base funding was a 3% increase as well, right? Last year,
But they're,
well, they already had, I think in the governor recommended it's a 3% increase.
yep, but what they were seeking
But then they're seeking additional one-time dollars, or are they seeking
base,
increased base funding?
let me pull it up and double check. Make sure I filled out my spreadsheet correctly.
Because they're looking for increasing financial coaches, counseling supports, and micro business development coaching. So they're looking for, right now they're at a 0.3 FTE in each agency, and they're looking to go to a 1 FTE in each.
I recall being a little unsure about the rationale, like if the demand was such that that jump in FTE would be required.
Right.
Here's the specific numbers.
Let me see. What was the name of the witness or the witnesses? So I can, or at least,
Liz,
Liz
game?
Sharp, if you look at it, Liz Sharp from the 17th.
thank you.
Yeah, that, the slides in there show the exact numbers, and then she's. If you look her up by name, she sent additional data dated February 18th. I mean, I think the demand is there. They were supporting more people than they were funded for.
at the current state funding levels, 170, 170, 300,000, 34,000 per agency, provides a 0.3 FTE for financial coaching.
Which supports 45 people.
Yeah, 45 people or 225 for the whole network. And then 493,350, 335 to 98.6 per agency, which provides a 0.9 FTE, which is 75 people per agency or 375 people through the network.
I'll just say, my time at Center for Women Enterprise and my time doing business planning through the Space on Main, these were the most, this is where I referred everybody who needed any type of business help and financial help. And often the financial coaching was the barrier to people being on good, stable feet to like start the business. And then they often needed like little tiny micro grants to actually start the business. So,
As we're talking about regional supports.
Yeah.
Capstone's do a really great job of providing regional assistance.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's tremendous value for the money spent for those programs, and they work in tandem.
right. Yeah.
Coaching.
Yeah.
Tax support and micro business.
And unlike some stuff that tends to be one region over the other or something like this, is every single region too. So like, yeah.
Yeah, they also do a great deal of help, like some far off rural communities and do a lot of support.
It can be tough to get to some of those 5 locations. I know that. And I mean, it would be good to, speaking in my like southwestern corner of the county, like getting it, sometimes I'd love to see that barrier to access it, because transportation is such a major issue at this scale. I wish there was another way to sort of make sure that to see that distribution be a little more even. But the need is certainly there. I don't disagree.
Can somebody pull the budget up so that we can take a look at what governor's budget. I think it helped. We have one person pulling budget up, another person, Abby has, and somebody else can pull up their ad schedule, no request.
You can do that on the appropriations committee page. It's the easiest way to find it.
What's the additional that they're?
Or production. So
Well,
the,
they're total, so they're looking for,
let me do a little math. So they're looking for all 3 in total. They're looking for an additional 1.152. It's broken down.
It's off like 2,000.
so. VDP, they're, I don't know. Support putting it in base funding.
Yeah. Where would the money come
Where
from?
we find points. 1 million.
We have financial coaching and micro business, so that total is $500,000.
Any more money in that labor decision?
No, it was almost 2 million total, but.
Yeah.
Which document you looking? Document. It's just that one.
Oh, that appropriations, I don't know.
Any suggestion as to which of the appropriations documents we should be looking at?
Oh, sorry, you go to
The committee page.
their page.
I got FY 2027.
Yeah.
27 budget.
Yeah. And then they divided up.
Grades is the,
It's got a commerce and it's got a bunch of other stuff.
oh, yeah, sorry. Um.
You go to the doc.
Which one?
The number one.
Oh, number one, okay.
And then it's the, Edie, is it the one on top, the Grady Nixon?
Yes.
Okay. This is the one on.
Pull it up too.
Devices for the person.
I think this is what you're looking at, right?
Yeah, but it's also stood in a spreadsheet.
Oh, there is a spreadsheet? That's what
I'll let you guys do that then.
So are we talking about this from our budget summary?
That's the slide deck.
And budgets. I don't know, but it looks like this.
I can find it.
That's right, if it's just me.
No.
That's all of us.
Oh, I saw that on that one page.
So
I've seen it hold up something similar to that on joint fiscal office.
That's what I'm looking at, but
You're looking at the actual.
I just pulled this one from Adam Gresham. FY 2027 budget summary. I don't know if it's right. It's got green bars.
Oh, yeah. You,
you got it? Great. In your email.
thank you.
Posted on our committee page, John.
Oh, yeah.
You got. Whoops. Appropriations.
Yeah, I couldn't find that. I had to go to their page to, but this is on from their
I
website.
pulled up. And looked under Robin's name and I don't see it. Another disappearing email.
Right, Rick, now that I just used all that brain power to figure out what we were doing, where are we?
We are on the part of the letter where the VCAP is what you're kind of looking at. The 3% increase in base funding is where we are stuck, I think. Share my screen again.
I found the budget through the joint fiscal office page.
And there's another document that was from appropriations.
That's what I'm still looking for.
Here's the budget books, you know, this is in joint. This.
Sure, that's what.
And it is where. Because it's like, this is where you can get like. What DD. Here, I'll send a link out to this.
No, he made it feel well. No, he gave us a full budget.
Yeah, this one.
On our books, on our webpage.
Take-
This is just.
Crazy.
But then the challenge is like
You
where.
got the full budget book.
I emailed it to you, this is the whole book. It's on joint fiscal.
Dan,
Yeah.
Dan gave it to us though.
Where does, if I look at the caps, where, what budget is that in?
Budget book, right? Okay, yeah.
That probably healthcare maybe.
Have you all reached out to Pat Sitterton at JFO? Might be helpful to have JFO here to answer questions.
Yeah.
Cause I'm not the budget guy. I can type words, but.
You're feeling a little inadequate right now?
Well, yeah, not helpful into this
Yeah.
aspect.
None of us are being very helpful right now.
You are.
I'd like to know who sent us.
Okay.
Is this?
Should be this difficult.
Agreed.
And that, when I was trying to dig into it, got frustrated because I didn't know where, like, there isn't really a decent search function.
No.
And so you have to know where to look.
Well,
And we never got an answer from our budget partners.
I just sent you the letter to us on the 4th. I don't know if that's the
Yeah,
right thing
there's
that you're
no-
looking for.
we got something that had a link in it.
PDF has a link in
Is it?
it. Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
It's just me not finding any for this.
What date was that?
The 4th, I just emailed it to everybody. There's 2 links at the top of the letter.
But isn't that the standard letter that was sent?
That's what I thought.
That link,
Have you just so much information?
that's what I'm saying, like, I went to this rabbit hole.
Yeah, that is it. And there is a. helps us enough. All right, what do we, so. Amy, do you know for the cap agencies? What their budget was, governor's recommend was a 3% increase over their,
That is not my understanding. No, my understanding is it's level funding
level funded.
and they're asking basically for, 500,000 for micro business. 500,000 for financial coaching and 100,000 for. And that would represent for micro business and financial coaching would represent a staff or basically the equivalent of a
Right.
staff person. So that they could meet the demand. We did follow up with you.
Yeah, we have that.
Question.
So that was about almost 900,000 more than the governor's recommend. With combining the two.
Wait, can I answer? So the total request for the three programs is 1.150 million. Last year, the cats received the 148,000 in VITA, but it was one-time money, so it wasn't carried into the governor's budget this year. And the other lines, and there's folks here that can correct me if I'm wrong, the other lines have been level funded for years. They're just sort of historical
Okay, so micro business is at 581
statewide,
statewide, and financial coaching is at 528,
statewide.
and the VITA is at 400.
Financial coaching. Thanks.
Yep.
Financial coaching is at 130. So we're the 1/3 time person.
Yeah. So this is, I'm sorry,
State-
this is the total. that
Budgeting for the,
Heather Alger. Okay.
That's the total that request, including the base funding. I'm sorry, I didn't see what you.
well, these numbers here are FY 26,
Yes, exactly.
so.
It's in the presentation that Liz Sharp sent.
We have them.
She put the base funding and then plus the request on one of the slides.
Yeah, I think it's this slide. We
Okay,
have that slide.
so maybe it's easier if we put
Numbers.
base funding in first for this year, which is, so. You have that up?
I do. So
Okay, so micro business is that,
fiscal year 26, the base funding was 493, 335. And they're requesting an additional 500,000. So current base 493, 335.
So they want,
We want 993, 335.
all right?
So
For fiscal year
Yes.
26. And then VITA requesting 550,000.
Right.
Which is an increase, a overall $2,000 increase from fiscal year 26 and 150,000 increase in base. And then financial coaching requesting 670,300, which is a $500,000 increase. Sorry, I got ahead of you.
That's okay. What's the number again?
670, 300.
Yeah. Which is $500,000 increase.
So governor included that $2,000 increase on VITA. and none of the other increases. But the base funding was there.
I think that
I'm not asking.
Ready?
Last year, the legislature added 148,000 in one-time money. The governor kept base the same and did not include the one-time, so the explanation is there, they asked for 150,000 last year, I don't know why, 148. But it's, so it'd be 2,000 over the total they got last year, but only the base was included in the governor's budget. He did not include any extra on the base.
So then what's the total request that VITA is asking for?
It's the 500.
550.
550. Total request, and that. Okay, what was the base budget for last year? On VITA,
Was that the 398?
Yes, 398, yes.
398 was the base last year.
I think this was.
And so the base funding is 400,
I think the governor included 390.
398. Okay, but so we're in the ballpark anyway, right? Okay. All right, so we got the right figures. So I think you can pull the 3% in base funding is not there.
So that's not the request.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Making increases in base funding for. Okay. All right,
Is Vita tax the right thing to call it?
The T is tax.
Yeah.
I think it's
just
volunteer
VITA.
income tax assistance or something like that.
and. All right, so now we know what we can talk about. Okay. Any ideas where we can find money?
Questions?
That's all the time.
That's, oh, great. What about the reversion? I guess it's not exactly workforce though. Well, for some of it maybe.
Well, I mean, this is what they're asking, what are we supporting? Where does money come from?
Yeah. So where'd that 3% come from? Was that something that someone?
Well, I mean, no, well,
No,
generally, in some of the budgets, the governors like. Has increased the budgets by 3%,
3%.
but that's been in. It's like agencies and departments.
Right.
Within state government, but.
Yeah. I mean,
A lot of things level funding as well, or decreasing.
Right, but that just sticks my mind as something that applied to some programs, whether it's an agency or nonprofit or whatever. That's kind of what the administration at least thought was a reasonable inflationary increase. And I guess to begin with, I would say, well, why don't you apply that reasonable inflationary increase to folks that something beyond the agency? Maybe it should be more.
Well, I think we heard micro business hasn't been increased for a number of years.
But I mean, that's an issue, right?
I would really like us to be able to support this. I get the issue of where's the money gonna come from? But I think this is some of the most impactful work, anti-poverty work that's done. And, there's a very clear economic benefit. Each dollar that goes to these three programs, I think results in more than $1 of economic benefit for the people they serve, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
Committee supports this request because
Yeah. I mean, I think that the economic argument is there for the,
say it again.
all right.
You're doing a great job. I mean.
How many words are you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could say that, these three programs combined produce significantly more economic benefit than the dollars we spend on the programs. And it is directly supports anti-poverty efforts and helping people get out of poverty. I mean, just alone, I was struck by the really impressive return on investment for the tax preparation support. And I heard on the radio this morning about these Trump bonds where you can't apply for a Trump bond where you get $1,000, baby born between 25 and 28 can get $1,000 in a savings account to be, kind of like a baby bond. But you can't apply for that unless you file federal income taxes. And you have to file a special form. So it's an opt-in. Anyway,
So just add the return on investment
Yeah.
is significantly higher.
Thanks for getting me back on track.
Yep. They're preaching to the choir.
I know.
It's higher than,
The return on investment is high. You'd say it's very
I think
high.
to say
It's very high.
It's very high.
Do we
And
want to
it's
be
really the
clear
three-
about how high it is? Do we have clarity on how high it is for the people that will be reading this letter?
Well, if it's $5 million on almost $5.5 million in tax refunds and credits back to the community.
Yeah.
That's only on the VITA tax piece of it.
Yeah.
So
That's
We say reference.
Is it 20 to 1, 10 to 1? Yeah, I'm just like, that might be a good, quick calculator thing to say.
provide a very high multiple, in return on investment or something like that.
Because that's based on 400,000 or no? I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so the tax return, just the tax refunds, we're talking 13 to 1.
I mean, it's not fully funded by legislative dollars, but I think, I presume, but I think or is it? Because that would be
Oh,
great.
they fundraise.
Okay.
I don't know where they use
We
the
have-
fundraising. Yeah.
Some the cats.
Speaking about VITA.
Yeah.
VITA receives money for their employees through the state, and we get a very small amount for the fundraising that was VITA.
So the majority of the money from state.
Our
funds.
agency gets $5,000 from the federal government. Oh, yes. That's it.
So, but
5,000 from the federal government.
oh boy, thanks.
I think we can they ask us to come down, we can explain that,
Yeah.
especially on the VITA program. Okay, everybody good with this?
Mhm.
Okay.
Small business technical exchanges.
I don't think there's anything in small business, technical assistance. If anything comes out, it'll be in Senate Economic Development Bill. BHCB, is there a number?
What I wrote down was just the 40.4 million, which is in the governor's budget. Most of it comes
Statutory,
from,
Government recommended statutory, yep. And that's, they didn't have anything new.
Yeah.
That's what we have to.
yes,
so,
that's what I have as well.
So my note, I mean, this is a really long-standing good program. My only question would be about the allocations. They have a split, I think, between conservation, preservation and housing. Maybe that's not our purview. Certainly seems that housing is a huge, huge thing right now. Yeah, good
Split,
uses of the fund.
is that split is that split statutory?
What's that?
Is the split based on?
No, the statutory says roughly equal. And so,
if they was up to 60, it can only go up to 70 before. So it's.
That's what I had
65,
heard.
right?
That's what I heard.
so there's a,
But it could go to somebody, I see.
And honestly, we haven't had probably enough testimony about, that allocation issue. So, it's just the thought I had in mind.
Is the 40.4 million their full statutory share that the statute says they're supposed to get?
I think it's a percentage of revenue from the transfer tax.
Yeah.
And that's
That
just,
percentage was 37.6 million for FY 27.
oh, okay.
Just the transfer tax. It was 36.4 in FY 26
Right,
because they had that reduction of just under 500,000.
yeah. And so now this year, the governor's recommend is 40.4.
which they said was the full governor is recommending the full.
Okay,
statutory.
so I think we take the request out and say we support the governor's recommended budget for the HCB. And we can take out, yeah,
Right, yeah, because there was a little under 3 million from the capital bill.
Yeah.
That's what got
2.8.
to that 44.
okay. And priority is high,
I'd say so.
okay. RPCs,
Request support for the governor's rec.
Their base, which I think was a 3% increase
Yeah.
to 7.8 million.
okay. Or we can say the same thing here. Instead of request for the governor's recommended percent increase.
Clean this up. It's just to get it down.
High priority. Everybody good with that? Okay. MTAT,
Name tap.
I can't remember what the technical assistance program, I remember we had some testimony about some plans.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always clear to me how those plans were gonna
Have
be
somebody right
implemented.
behind you that can explain that to you. When we get to the,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's VCRD. That
Oh,
There was, I think, as I recall, a statewide assessment of municipalities based on the like a community need that was sort of giving a standardized metric, and MTAP was sort of made a sort of a pot of funding that was meant to be made available to municipalities that would have limited staff capacity. And so your biggest towns with robust staffs wouldn't be eligible for that. To assist them in community development stuff at sort of small scale one-off.
yeah, so that went to VLCT and I think then out to the RPCs as well. Okay, Circular and Earn. So they've asked for an increase of $500,000 to their base funding.
And I looked it up last year, they got 500,000 base, 250 one time.
So their base again is 500. Or did they get it? They got a 3% increase. I think it was 500. They're asking for another 500. So to change that, which base funding increase the 500 in the base funding. They're asking for another 500 in base, right? I don't know that we're gonna find base, but.
Building, basically.
Yeah. I think committee supports $500,000 increase. I'm thinking that we find that 500 in, again, in the VDOL reversions.
Yeah.
But it would be one-time funding, unfortunately, but.
What about this extra bullet point from last year?
Doing it, I think.
They are working, having those conversations, but it doesn't hurt to.
The committee continues to suggest or something.
Or, well, I think the committee continues to work with the executive director. I think we could say that.
You work with. Here. Continue working.
Everybody good with that? Priority. Aye. Three-degree promise is, I think what they're looking for, that's sitting in house education right now. And do the funding formula in the higher ed.
And I think funding freedom and unity gets us pretty darn close to. We're trying to go here, but that's just.
And this is a CCB. There's. Yeah. But there's no request right now. The request is sitting in another bill, so. I think we can take that out.
Can freedom and unity be used at CCB?
Well, the CCB is part of, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
they
don't
override
do-
the other
yeah.
two.
we have anything from the Arts Council?
They didn't come to us. And I think the governor budget included their full request this year.
Yeah,
Looking at that.
I think, yeah, the Arts Council gets a match.
Yeah, it's in there.
Or I think we do want to say that,
Yes,
how much is it?
$1,033. $3,155.
So could you say support governor's recommendation?
Yeah. Or the governor's recommended budget. What's the number? 1,000,000.
$1,033,155. That's not including symphony orchestra, historical society.
That's it. So we recommend that match federal funds. You support it by request. There's no request in the second part, right? Great film. See. Okay,
I can. That's what I removed, but
Nobody's asking for that this year. I think they understand how tight the money is.
So the King Lands? No,
Not
oh, this is a film database,
to have,
Yeah.
but
Working Lands Coalition.
They're requesting 1.5 million base, 3 million one time.
governor's
Oh,
recommended.
wait.
Recommended.
But
I have 3.5 in one time and half. I could have it wrong.
And
Well,
what's in
I
the
have a
budget?
total of 5 million, but then 3.5 and 3 and 1.5 don't make 5, so we're both wrong.
We did get something from them.
Third and double check. Denise.
We're asking for 1.5 million in base, so adding 500,000 to the base, the
So-
governor's recommend is 1 million right now.
Okay, so we can put governor's recommend is 1,000,000. Request is another 500,000 in base.
3.5 in one time,
Right, there we go.
so you were all right.
Yeah.
I do have
And
it
all
by
wrong.
development.
And all wrong.
1 million in governor's base, add half to base,
Oh,
3.5 one.
good work.
is that correct?
I mean, great program, but where is the money? from?
Right, when ARPA was around.
I think we can leave it just like it's listed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you want to place a priority on it? Okay,
Do you want the if funds are available language that was used last year?
yes.
Priority,
I don't think you want to put a priority in.
I think if funds are available, kind of says it all.
Downtown tax credit program, they're asking again for another,
6 million.
they're increasing to 6.
That's what we heard. Oh, let me find it. It was Karen Duque. This is one of the ones I found when I went back. Works great, except when it doesn't.
You can take the tech hub out because that's. We did that last year. International trade, we already dealt with that up above.
Yeah, they're asking to double the downtown tax
That
credit
can
to
go.
6 million.
Yeah. The end of it. Oh,
There may have been more last year that I may not have gotten the latest copy that we used.
There's a 3
I can
million.
look for it.
yeah, it's been 3 million for quite a while.
Support.
So the request, the downtown tax credit program is increase. An increase of 3 million. Over,
3 million that's in the budget.
or,
I'm trying to have, I can't recall where this particular program fits into all the other tax credits for development. And
Downtown
my
tax.
recollection is 181 had a lot of them, or, different ones. Is this one of them?
So
Or,
downtown tax credit program is for downtown designated downtowns and village centers.
and village?
Yeah, so it can be facade upgrades. You get a tax credit for that. Different things.
This says,
It upgrades our.
Yeah,
Downtown.
I get it. Yeah. Just need tax credits in other parts of the state.
in 2025, $3.3 million in tax credits supported 34 projects in 23 designated downtowns. And village centers generating 70 million in improvements and infrastructure.
Right,
That's the summary.
it's an infrastructure, really an infrastructure improvement program for a downtown. Village center.
And I think that where we might find brownfields being sort of not as well funded in the coming year, the tax credits that have to do with facade improvements and rehabilitations to structures that already are standing might be we might be nice to push that up a little bit, but I certainly expect there'll be more demand than there is supply. I think the Community Investment Board is the entity that reviews those applications that go to the DHCD's community development program.
Where would you like to go, committee? Support the request, is it a priority high?
I mean, I will say one of my communities in particular is a huge fan of the program. I think from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, it often gets a lot of requests, I think.
Yes.
It gets more
Overseas.
requests.
Way more, yeah, than it can handle, so I think it clearly is one of those pots of money that does its job well. So, but the question about where do we get an extra $3 million? I don't know if there are other reversions that would be handy, but
Another question is they use the money to pull in federal money, and is the
Right.
federal money there still? Like, there are all kinds of questions that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How things look to.
Yeah,
I mean, can't do appropriations full job for it, so.
Yeah.
don't you give them something to do?
I mean, I think preserving 3.3 is really important, and I'd be, more than that's wonderful, but like this is a tough time. But as you said, Mike, that's their deal. I don't need to do it for them.
Well, I think, what we might say is we continue to support the 3 million in tax credits. But we also support an increase because the tax credits have not been increased in a number of years. And it's oversubscribed, that we would support another 3 million increase in tax credits. Yeah. Rick, you got this of it, so you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now.
He continues support. And I'm using one of those, some of that tax credit for Seagull Bagels.
I would love that.
New facade.
Yeah.
Put a personal face on that. My youngest son lives in a building on Main Street in Springfield that just had its facade totally redone. It's broke down this past year.
Yeah, it used to be able to also provide tax credits if you were upgrading. Well, it does if you're upgrading an elevator or putting an elevator in. Also it was providing tax credits if you were wiring your building for high-speed internet, that type of thing. I don't think it does that anymore.
That's stuff for ADA, that would be.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
library put an elevator into.
Okay. All right, that makes sense to everyone? Okay, under Free Vermont there's no, I'm aware of any income tax anyway. Or did they?
We did hear from Vermont Food Bank, but I think that was specifically for the budget adjustment.
Yes, that's right.
That was for Vermonters feeding Vermonters, right?
Yeah, and it was for the budget, it was
Yeah.
That's for
related to
BA.
the BA.
To remove this section.
We have Vorak.
EC stand
Or I can with people,
for? What's the EC stand for?
Yeah, the
Oh,
Vorak
where
was
it says-
and then the Roba wanted 100,000 for the outdoor.
So Vorak is in the governor's budget, 500,000. It's one time. Sorry, were you saying?
Oh, the VORAC acronym, I got everything but the C. I think I just missing the C. Collaborative?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Vermont Outdoor Recreation Economic Collaborative.
Yep.
Okay.
Too many acronyms.
So the request is 500,000, or no, the governor's recommend is 500,000. In one-time dollars. Committee supports the 500,000. But recommends that this should be in base funding. Right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is my-
sounds-
Yes.
Seems like it's kind of a foundational program.
Well, I think the issue becomes this on and off again. And how can a community who may not have, who is putting together a proposal isn't quite there yet. But they don't know if there's going to be funding if they continue to work on it to present it again next year. Why put the effort into trying to do it if we don't know if the funding is going to be there or not?
I did not find that argument to be all that persuasive. I don't know how often potential grantees are thinking about that in the moment. Maybe others feel differently. I wasn't
Well, I
sure.
think because there has been funding and there was some dollars left last year. There was no funding request, so the governor didn't have it in the budget. But I think one-time funding can lead you to that without knowing that you can count on something being there year after year.
And I would also say, at least Jonathan, in my community, because we're kind of small, we have applied a number of times. We did finally get one, but it doesn't, depending on where you're at and where your community's at, not knowing that this is going to be there, because you'll do all the work to get ready to do it. Then all of a sudden the opportunity is not there for you and you have to go find something else. And then the other thing I would say also is that backbone funding for this whole statewide project of building trails that are multi-use. And I think that that's something that's giving a lot back to the state.
I mean, certainly outdoor recreation is where we can win, right, economically. My understanding too from the testimony is a lot of times there'll be a planning grant and then maybe an implementation grant, so could be a multi-year process.
Yeah. And grants just they take a lot of time and if you.
Okay. We okay with the language? Priority,
Say hi.
was
Or you.
other,
Just turn off my screen.
It's the worst typing under pressure.
It's
can only type read.
it's not even.
It was also. CRD, right?
PCRD.
The half a million.
Mhm.
Denise, can you give us the lowdown on the $500,000?
Yep, sorry. You want me to just say my name? So Denise Smith, Executive Director at the Vermont Council on Rural Development. Based on the Verda report, I don't know if you guys had DHCD come in. I can't remember which committee we testified in.
We're here too.
Yeah, okay, so DHCD did their report, so that was the evaluation of rural technical assistance. And what they said is that communities need flexible funding, wraparound services, and coordination between technical service providers, including the RPCs, so it's not, instead of, it's with. And so what we're asking for is $500,000 this year to continue the momentum of MTAP. Which was in the governor's budget last year and did make it through. And we're asking just for a portion of that money for this year to continue that momentum and to respond to what rural communities are asking for with that funding. So that's the lowdown on the Verda or on the RTA request. And VCRD is doing it because we were willing and able to kind of come in and start doing this. We're also willing to serve as the backbone organization for the technical assistance provider network. For this year, as we sort out, the report came late. It was not till November that was finalized. And so that's why we're kind of here doing this now. But we want to keep that momentum going from what's happened over the last 2 years of that pilot with the MTAP funding that was provided to the communities. We've seen a lot of success. For our organization alone, it allowed us to work with 7 communities. Direct funding for projects that they needed done.
That was through MTAP.
It was that was through MTAP, the original MTAP funding.
MTAP, then the money flowed into VLCT and.
But Vermont Leagues of City and Town Preservation Trust, us, the RPCs, Jonathan, maybe help me out here a little bit. If there were others on that list, specific private, like Stone Environmental was one of the technical assistance providers. That also was able to have more flexible funding for communities. And we use it in a bunch of different ways, either hiring contractors directly for towns, or we would give them the money and they would hire the contractors.
Is it in the governor's budget or not?
LOAB was another one, Land Access and Opportunities Board was another one. It's not in the governor's budget this year.
It's not, and neither is the afternoon.
Either.
What was the other program?
LAOB is in.
LAOB is, no, MTAP is not in the governor's budget this year. It was last year at 3 million and it was not funded.
This year.
Last year, yeah, so a lot of MTAP organizations that had MTAP funding, that funding is sunsetting in December and or June. So that money's all sunsetting right now.
And so then this money would do what now if there's no funding?
So what it would do is it would allow us to continue to convene all of the technical assistance providers It would also allow us to give flexible funding to communities through a grant program that could be administered by DHCD or us. And it would help us to have capacity at the technical assistance provider organization. Without this funding, we don't have capacity to be able to provide added technical assistance services.
Sorry, remind me, ARPA money is what funded MCHAP, temporary federal dollars?
That we would have to ask the governor's office for, but I sure don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's.
ARPA funds.
I think that's the issue with anytime we have temporary dollars, trying to continue funding a program that was funded with temporary dollars makes it incredibly complicated.
Well, I think the reason why we did that is because of ARPA funding, trying to get that money out the door, making sure that communities had the technical assistance they needed to get all the ARPA funding out the door. But I think what Denise is saying, and everybody else is that they found that the technical assistance, the communities found the technical assistance very valuable, especially in small communities that don't have people.
Have under capacity.
Right.
Yeah, I absolutely the truth in some of these small communities. And although, there seems to be some overlap in sort of technical assistance for a lot of folks, we're not going to solve that now. And to not have that kind of assistance for some of these small towns, I think would be unfortunate for sure.
I think the goal for this too, I'll just add, is that it's really about coordinating the services so that there isn't as much overlap, right? And so that we're working together and kind of wrapping around a community.
And I guess one thing I'll also jump in and say, I agree with you absolutely, Herb, like our small towns don't have a lot of municipal capacity to handle all the sophistication that's ahead of them. I think not funding something like this is gonna hurt our growth. The one thing I also will point out, and I think I did say this to you, Denise, is that most of the communities, at least the ones that I've talked to, don't know exactly where to go to get the help. So I do wonder about making sure that we have messaging and are actually promoting the programs that we do have to communities.
Navigation came out a lot.
Yeah.
It comes down to, the RDCs, the RPCs, they're supposed to be the boots on the ground, the ear to, or ACCD. And I'm just,
The LCT.
yeah, but I'm just wondering, how much of this money is being spent to provide the wraparound services that you're talking about, that I think that we expect come from the RDC and LPP, and how much of it will be going out to the community.
Yeah, I think the majority of this money would go out to the communities directly, and I think that the thing is RPCs and RDCs serve a huge function,
Right.
And I think there's a whole ecosystem of technical assistance providers throughout the state that are also part of that, and I think this will help to augment the work that they do.
We almost need what we did with the SOCWeb and with the, creating the Office of Workforce Strategy and Development. Is you need an office that knows, that can go out and that knows everybody that's out there and coordinates all of that.
That was kind of what I was getting to. And how do you do that? And what do you do in the meantime, kind of thing. Some of the smaller communities, they just don't have the wherewithal to access some of what's out there.
Well, they don't know what's out there.
Well,
That's the problem.
yeah, a little bit.
With the Ready program.
And the code,
A little bit
So
about
with the Ready program, how many small communities know what it is?
So I'd like to see something, if there's money dedicated to that particular purpose. I don't mind having it coordinated among a bunch of different agencies. I'd just like to see, that presence there somewhere.
Because I definitely see the need, certainly, right? There's tremendous need for technical assistance for these small towns. But I think from a systems perspective, we make things really complicated in Vermont. Like the number of organizations, the number of towns. And I would rather see us have a focus on how do we simplify is the wrong word. How do we make it easier? And how do we make it easier to share? And it just makes sense to me to have that capacity be in the RPCs and RDCs, and also to be really leaning into regional shared services and regional governance. So those are just sort of my questions. It's not a question about the need or the question of the needs of the towns. It's more like systematically, where should we be putting the resources towards and streamlining things and building in that collaboration. So it's not like,
Yeah, so I'm
so the little
totally with you. The problem is timing. We're putting
Yeah.
together a budget letter right now, and we're not going to change the system,
Yeah.
in the next 2 weeks. And I wouldn't mind cobbling together some language like we did with workforce programs
Mhm.
a couple of years ago, directed at this kind of an issue. But in the meantime, if we're just looking at the
Yeah.
budget number, I'd hate to
yeah, it's like a
lose the funding
Yeah.
to that support something that needs to be in there somehow. Maybe not this way,
Yeah.
but somehow.
I understand what you're saying.
I think in the Berta report, it also mentioned that regional kind of
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so that's all in there, and we're hoping that this money just helps us continue to do the work that we've already started. And not have to not be able to do it because we don't have the capacity to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I hear Herb, and I think it's important we support these really small things, because that's what we're really talking with that cap, it's really the tiny communities. And how we fund that, how we organize that, I think it's also a great idea, we figure out how to coordinate this whole system and get it together, like you said, Stockwood. And that sounds like a great project for the committee for next year. Maybe even a study thing for this year, or whatever we do. And you won't even have to worry about it. Yeah, but yes, I think like, for example, to me, this program is more important than the storefronts in the downtown, the facades, right? If I had to choose one or the other, I would choose this over that. Because those communities have a little bit more resources than the itty bitty ones that need the impact. So I don't know if we have to make that call. I don't know how that goes, but.
Well, but what I would say is it's not just the designated downtowns, but it's the village centers as well. And there's a lot of village,
Yeah,
most of
very
our
small.
communities have designated village centers as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's available to them too.
I think in some cases, this money is helping people figure out that they should go for that. Yeah.
That's how Preservation Trust used some of the funding they had.
It is,
To help communities apply for that, right?
Right.
what are people thinking?
This is high for me.
And should it be BCRD, or would it go to VHCD? People are interested in.
I'd be okay having it in an agency if they're willing to commit to it.
Well, I think they came to.
Yeah.
Or to the RPCs, RDCs.
Well, everything flows through
Oh, the agency
the
would decide.
agency and would.
I think tying it in with whether it's RPC or RDC makes sense. I mean, right now they're doing that kind of thing anyway.
Right.
They actually charge communities for it. It's a fee kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So that would be,
You know-
might lessen some of the fee that they have to charge small towns in order to get the assistance.
Wait, I'm confused. Are we saying VHCD, but now we're saying planning commissions? Is that what you just said, to give it to?
No,
Okay,
no.
okay, okay, I was like, no, no, no.
Regional planners and regional development.
Yeah, that's what I think.
You know, when we did MTAP, it went through AOA, right, Agency of Administration. They then rented the money out to BCRD, to PLCT, and a host of others to provide the technical assistance that we need to get the ARPA funding out. So I think the thought is that we continue a program similar to that that would help small communities understand where dollars sit and how to access those dollars, and give them the technical assistance they need in order to do that.
And it also, it seems like part of it is also wanting to keep together this coalition of service providers that have.
Yeah. So I think it would be through ACCD and Department of Housing and Community Development. To continue or to provide technical assistance through the various providers in Vermont.
I don't know.
I'm struggling with this because it's a program that. No, it feels like a brand new program. We're popping into the budget without enough information. It's $500,000 to allow a group of providers to have more conversations. Like that just doesn't feel like the way we're using money right now. We should ever be using money. So this is fiscal concern. Really struggling with this. I know our rural communities need support. I'm just not sure that this is the way to do it. So.
I mean, I hear you, you know, maybe the focus should be on assistance to municipalities as opposed to.
Which is like a program that we need to understand before we put it in the budget, right? So that's where I just struggling with this.
Because we have Vermont League of Cities and Towns.
Yeah,
And
we
we
have
have
the
the
LCT, we
RPCs,
have our RPCs, we have other programs. I mean, talking about a group of providers that are having meetings. We were talking about $60,000 to come up with, to work with a consultant to come up with a new program to support, instead of veggie, right, to support businesses. And now we're talking about, you know, almost 10 times that for this. If it's the same kind of collaborative, come up with a program thing, that doesn't seem to make sense to me. So I'm feeling like this is not baked enough for me to add into the budget right now.
I don't think it's coming up with a new program versus continuing a program though, right, that we've been doing for the last couple of years. And just speaking for my towns, like it's not just conversations between regional providers, it is actually like asking those regional providers, which grants should we go to? We want to accomplish this stuff. We want to do a housing development. We're not sure how to do it. And often, like at least for my regional planning commission and the Regional Economic Development Corporation, they don't have capacity in my towns to do that. So often we're like having to go to another entity like VCRD often to be the ones who are like, who should we talk to and how do we do this? And that's opened up multiple different funding sources that then I've personally applied to for towns and on behalf of multiple businesses and municipalities.
So why are we underfunding our?
Yeah, why are we underfunding a lot of things?
Causing other programs to have to start. It's just so much.
No, they're not,
less.
yeah, they're not starting though. I think that's.
And I will say that I think maybe that this is kind of Kuchak's like purpose saying, like, putting this money in kind of keeps that momentum going, because I agree with you, my towns also avail themselves of these services and are, you know, it's volunteer based, like people are not necessarily deeply trained in planning as the same as like being in Milton or something like that. So having this as a resource is helpful. But I also think the other track is figuring out with all of the technical assistance, because I am hearing this also from my towns, is that there's so many programs and they don't know exactly where to go or what the best pathway is given whatever project. So I do think that we need something that's similar to workforce development to see like what are the programs in the state, what are they doing, what services do they provide? I think I am also a little bit like, because I would have thought that the Verter report would have given us that information. But I feel like we didn't get that totally from the report.
Meaning like
The like sense of who's in the state, what are they doing?
like who the technical service providers are in the state.
Yeah, not just the
statewide
technical, yeah, like does not just the technical service providers, but also what funding opportunities are available for towns, who you access, like just kind of a bulleted like spreadsheet of just
Yeah.
broken down.
And to that question, Emily, can I ask that is it also part of the ARPA hangover of we have tons of projects we have to spin up and people that are going to be running them and things are going to expand massively for this couple years. And now we're sort of awash in, there were like 40 programs, but now we're getting to a point where maybe we're hopefully getting back to like 9 or something, like an easier number of things to navigate versus like a more complex landscape that's very un-Vermont-like, and the total number of dollars, the total number of contacts, the total number of like outcomes, because we had to do all this on this accelerated timeline. And I'm sort of, my hope is not, my point is not to gainsay your commentary. My hope is that we're getting to a period of a return to something that where a town clerk could have a general idea of the 5 or 6 things that are relevant in this instance, like a more right size to our small state and our small towns within that small state. Just a thought.
I think that there might be something to it. The one thing that I would put in there is also that the federal landscape is so wonky that is also needing an extra amount of administrative bandwidth that our towns and communities don't have. So potentially whatever savings, like kind of in time and effort we might be getting from having a less complicated system due to ARPA might actually just be a wash because it's that much more complicated. And we have set out some pretty big ticket items that are pretty complicated, like infrastructure.
Yeah. I'll just add that VCRD's been around for about 30 years and we've refined our community visit process. And when we go, we bring resources with us. We are already doing the navigation piece for a lot of communities when they need things like that. I think this funding would really just continue that work, and most of this funding would go direct to communities in a grant program.
I guess the question I have is, we're wavering on like where to put this, if not directly to VCRD. So is there like, does ACCD through VHCD make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, in my mind. Yeah, we have a grant program through them already, so we could easily be granted after that. Yeah. If you have to give it to a state agency, that one makes the most sense.
Providing technical assistance for our small rural community. So I think this is getting away from the thought that we need to have someone convene everybody to understand what's going on to a technical assistance. And I think we're not continuing to fund MTAP. We will be funding a technical assistance program. So
I mean,
because I think MTAP was through AOA and
that's kind of like what I said. I was thinking of it. We don't necessarily need to have collaboratives. We need to have folks organize and optimize the municipalities. And, I think whether this goes to the Council of Rural Development or Housing and Community Affairs, someone to do that task of trying to organize everything and provide the assistance. Sort of like a workforce development.
Leaving it all up to you. What do you want to include this?
Maybe should.
I don't need to have it necessarily through other, various providers. I would like, I'm fine with it going to an agency and having them,
Well, I think you can put a period after communities, I was just suggesting. Just remove the through various providers in Vermont.
Oh, at the ACCD.
I understand the need, but I still struggle with the systems focus of it, and kind of continuing our fragmented way of doing things. And there are some other funding priorities that are more important to me on this list than.
I'm just trying to leverage the budget issue to get a system in place.
I think you're seeing a divide of representation, right?
It's part of it.
It's true.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Right, like micro business, way more important to my constituents than.
I think that hits all of us. doesn't
That
it?
hits all of us, yeah.
It does hit all.
But like, yeah. Like Canadian Taiwanese office versus
Yeah.
community economic development.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah.
And this, I get it, that it's important. I just see the long-term direction I want us to be going is more collaboration.
Oh, totally.
How do we make things easier instead of just providing assistance to deal with our system?
I mean, I think it does sound like a bill next year for an actual thing.
So if we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
think of this as a Band-Aid and
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
bridge,
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
bridge,
Yeah,
So,
I'm more comfortable. with.
totally. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah.
so. If the committee is unified in this, I want to know, and if not, then we'll take a vote on it. And then prioritize it, and then I think we need to write further language that specifies what we want to see in the future, right?
Yes.
And we talk about this as kind of like a bridge to get us to where we want to go.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable with that.
Is everyone comfortable with that idea?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. And priority,
I could say normal, but my vote is for high. Just because this is also about building that stack of assistance that's supposed to be doing the development that we're supposed to be doing in the house, building the housing that we're meant to be building.
okay, so in the future, what would you like this committee to do? To look at?
We'd like comprehensive supports for all of our small towns. Just, so that they can fully avail themselves of all of the programs that provide for appropriate development in their region.
So in the future, this committee would like the Agency of Commerce. and
Exactly.
to provide,
Yeah, to provide for.
Do you want to say comprehensive support or do we want to say technical assistance?
Do and.
And I like it.
comprehensive support and technical assistance. So do we want the Agency of Commerce and Community Development to develop a program for develop? Do we want them to develop
A framework.
framework with providers
Yeah, with
that are
with current technical assistance providers.
Yeah, where it says, to provide a comprehensive, and I would like comprehensive and integrated.
Ooh,
I mean, my communities find that the regional planning commissions and regional development corporations don't talk to each other very well. And, you know, and so that's an issue. And then they don't know who they can talk to get grants. And my regional development corporation is one person overseeing 34 towns, something like that. So she sees like 3 towns a year, and it's usually the same 3 every year. And so that whole system needs to rework for the small communities like, it doesn't work. And so ultimately, I want to see an integrated thing that makes all those pieces fit together.
If we can have a reference to regional integration too, like some kind of, that, you know, we need more shared services, shared.
And to feed off what Kirk was saying, my sense is we've been taking testimony over the year plus now, is that if a community does then turn to a nonprofit for assistance, funding, whatever, there's such a plethora of those that there is no coordination and there seems to be a lot of duplication and overlap. And of course, every nonprofit needs money to operate and administer as well. So that's the other component that seems to be a wild card.
Efficient
process.
Yeah.
Or regional vision, bridge towards a regional vision.
So in the first line,
In your bold,
Rick, in the bold, so this committee supports $500,000 request that will provide a bridge for regional technical assistance.
In small or 4.
there we go, bridge, that's a good word.
In.
Yeah.
In. Before,
I think 4 is
or it might be better.
because you got in on the other.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody good with that one?
great.
Love it.
Now the next one, future
You guys are all
committee.
saying the same things.
Yeah. Where do you think we got it from?
We just had to kick it around for half an hour and make it our own.
This committee, like the agency. Or technical assistance, small town. So that they can fully,
Avail themselves of the programs that provided.
so I would take the second town out. And put they. What else would you put in? Rick?
Who is the they? I know you mean the 10 towns, I know. But
Really,
ACCD could also be the they. If this were a statute, we put the towns, but I think here you can just say.
so we could say technical assistance, so that small towns can fully avail themselves of. Yeah, you can You can look at it and you're the word man.
Not as critical in this format.
Provide appropriate development.
Do you want
Another
to,
word man
do
too.
you want them to talk to us about what framework they've come up with?
Well, I think that's in the bill that you put in next year.
I think somebody needs to work with them in the off session.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Figure out where we need to go.
We got a regional governance person over here.
Everybody good with that? Okay. Priority.
Oh, what about the last sentence? Is it just
That
edge
you
of it?
should develop a framework with current technical assistance providers. And this committee?
Yes.
Yes.
They'll love that.
Yep.
It is a partnership.
We're accountability buddies.
That's kind of what I was saying.
We good with
How about
that?
in collaborate? Oh, geez. In collaboration.
Actually, do we also want to put in there that they should work with the regional governance study committee? No, can you not do that? Okay.
So let's remember, let's not forget this. Because we are getting an economic development bill from the Senate.
Mm.
And so this may be the place where we,
Get that working group.
yes.
Yeah. Good idea. Good thinking.
Always thinking.
Like.
Okay. Priority.
It's a priority for my small town.
Yeah, same.
It's written like this, I would go along with that.
Okay. High priority. We have,
Do
I
I,
know,
you wanna know what's left on my list? Spreadsheet.
I know that we have UVM, they asked for $1 million a year for the next 5 years on the real cancer.
It might be part of the rural, the money from the federal government on rural transformation. I think they might be able to cover in that.
So, but
We should mention it. maybe.
could we mention it? You can put that up under UVM too when you redo the University of Vermont Council. On
I'll complete it. I don't know what keeps doing that.
We're combining everybody.
We don't have OBA.
Yeah.
Request 1 million.
We did talk about locals. No, but we didn't do the 100,000 on.
I don't think.
Maybe we didn't.
We did. That University of Vermont requesting $1 million for
For cancer research as part of their mobile.
rural cancer, wasn't it?
Yep. Rural expanded for providing expanded care in rural communities. They have a mobile unit, but perhaps this could be part of the rural healthcare transformation.
Yeah.
Were they a part of that grant?
The grants, and we have to determine what gets, how that 195 million gets used, right?
Oh, I thought that was already approved by the grant application.
Most of it is, but some of it's,
So some of it's
some
not.
details. Yeah.
So we should put in committee suggests that what's the name of that grant?
Rural healthcare transformation.
Yeah, rural health. Healthcare transformation, federal funding.
Would this be included? Maybe, yeah.
Or Okay. What else do we have?
Can you go back up to BORAC where we were there?
Right there.
Yep, so we didn't talk about the $100,000 for the entrepreneur fund.
Yeah.
For VOBA, for the
Yeah.
Outdoor Business Alliance.
Yeah, through Forest Parks and Rec.
So we have a separate request for how much?
100,000.
That was one time.
Is this for the economic impact study? Is that what this is?
No, this is for the Outdoor Entrepreneur Program.
Oh, okay.
Is something I think they're already doing. So it's technical assistance for,
So it's not Borek, it's Volva.
Different.
Or business.
Alliance.
Alliance.
yeah.
Governor did recommend 500 for Borek, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
In the-
one time.
one time funding it.
And this is a request for one time as well.
Yeah. And that's the request from. Reversion.
It's for their outdoor entrepreneur program.
Close.
Yeah, no,
You're asking if people want it?
well, he's out funding.
I mean, we could use it 6 times, so sure.
Use a lot of time, we're not asking for any big money items out of the,
No, we're not.
well, 'cause I think the biggest was 600,000, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to add all those up, make sure that. Within the reversions of veto. Well, that's Rick to
To do math.
do his math.
You will get bad information.
I went to law school.
So do you support the funding as well as the reversion dollars or just supporting it through reversion dollars?
Well, I think so do we support the request? That's the first question. Yeah. Okay, committee supports the request. And the priority.
You're more moderate about this one.
You too.
I know it's important, but maybe I'm becoming,
Normal.
yeah.
Everything is high.
Not so
Rick, I was gonna say, we've established that our normal is high.
I mean, normal knots is the same thing.
Medium,
medium, yeah.
low, medium, high. Is the stove?
Yeah.
Medium is fine, from that perspective.
We'll add up the dollars first before we. What's next?
So
We have-
NOFA came in for the Farm and Forestry Operations Special Fund for $15.6 million.
I don't
I'm sure
have that-
where
I don't
that's
have
coming
that
from.
in my.
So they actually had 2 requests. The 15, whatever is connection with S60, I think.
Yes.
And my thinking would be, we haven't even seen the bill yet, or the House hasn't seen the bill,
Right.
and that should wait. There was also a separate request, though, for their program, Cash Crop and Cash Crop Plus.
That was.
That was
$500,000.
for
Is that
500,000.
buy down of the premiums?
No, that was it's really a supplement to food assistance programs
Oh, yeah.
so that it's.
It expands
What's
the,
that?
it expands the food assistance money
Right.
at
Yeah.
farmers markets.
Right, and
So it doubles it.
just a little background, that's kind of important in some of the smaller towns. The food bank only reaches, some of the larger they're not huge towns, but,
Benefits farmers.
so some of these farmers markets, do something that reach, poor folks, lower income folks, that food bank isn't going to reach. So that's my pitch. It's a good program, really is.
How much,
Yeah.
how much were they asking for?
Half a million, 500,000.
Missed that, missed that.
So what is NOFA?
No, and,
Northeast Organic Farmers Association.
Right.
farming.
It's organic farmers. It is a great, it is a really,
And the request is how much? 500,000.
100,000 for crop.
benefits the consumer.
And it's direct, and these farms are critical, especially, the dairy is not there anymore. And that's, so they have all these. Are doing this, no good fruits.
Yes.
You need a market.
Oh, wait, no, crop and crop cash plus, so put it and in there.
Crop cash and.
Yeah, crop cash plus. The plus is milk and bread and.
I'm really close to typing a word I shouldn't type. I gotta be real careful.
Ooh.
Well, it's getting combined. The brain.
There was one other, too.
Excuse me.
That's a really tricky set of words there. You gotta be careful.
It was crop cash,
Yeah.
crop trash plus
See?
and farm share.
Oh, and farm share.
Farm share.
And farm share. That one I have no problem with. So crop cash plus and farm share.
Do you want to say anything about the recovery fund, or is that our purview? The $15 million for
The special fund.
for the special fund.
I think we need to wait for the legislation to come through before we weigh in on any of that. And that's 60.
Okay.
Need to let the committee do their work first.
S60
I think we passed
came to
it.
the floor.
Yeah,
already.
we passed it. We passed it.
Yeah, I was like, that got passed
in
last
January.
year.
In like January.
That's the one. we were-
Yeah, but it just never got any money put in.
Um,
I honestly don't know
So-
much about it.
How about the committee sees the value of this money in that it benefits both farmers and
Food insecure.
food
farmers.
insecure Vermonters.
I think New Vermonters as well.
In New Vermonters, yeah. It gives hopefully.
But are those new Vermonters also food insecure?
Yeah,
But it's all Vermonters.
oh, it's true.
If you could just try this out if you had a comment. And reaches individuals that might not be closely connected to the normal food assistance programs. I'm trying to get, that's not quite right.
The folks that fall through the cracks that might not.
It's,
I mean, it provides dignity. you know,
Yeah,
to
that's fine,
residents,
it's
but
fine.
we don't need to discuss the merits, but it's like a super dignified way to give people the ability to have wholesome.
it's right.
So S60 is back in the Senate because we put out an amendment. So it passed the House.
Still in play.
It's still on.
Okay, so I think while it's still in play that
We'll
we
just,
don't, we don't offer an opinion one way or the other on the 15.59 or 6.9.
Do you support the 500,000?
Now that we've had you write all that, no.
And therefore.
I asked because you see the value in it, but do you also
See the value.
Yes. But
Or
the
Do you
language is.
do you feel the value?
are you, everybody, are we good with?
It's a great program.
I think it's a really good program.
Yeah.
And it, yeah,
I also like that you get wholesome food versus, because so many people using SNAP benefits and those types of programs, they wind up getting the box food that's full of chemicals and nasty stuff, so.
And it benefits the consumer and it benefits the,
Actually,
which is really good.
gives our farmers like a good, clear,
Get you fresh.
predictable contracts. Which are important.
Thanks.
Okay, here's a couple things, the things
We
that I
haven't
have.
done DOL, we haven't done TFR yet.
Yeah, DOL, DFR, Common Good, who came in like the first week.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we want to talk about adult learning and
Yes,
That one.
yeah, we have to put that in.
that's what I have left on my list.
And I have one more after that.
Back to you.
Okay. So let's do. Department of Labor,
And I have, they requested $44,822,733 a base, and that's in the government.
3% increase.
3% increase.
For. School government is recommending 3% increase for Department of Labor.
Based on it.
I think. You're doing these, Rick, I think if you start like with the departments at the beginning of the letter.
Yeah.
So I think what we should say is. Do we have that language of the reversion? In Department of Labor. So we'll send you that, the reversion. So that we would say. That this committee has. In. Following requests. Is recommending that we use. Some of these reversion dollars for items within our, something to that effect.
Yeah.
You know where I'm getting at. That makes sense to everybody.
Yeah.
We're giving appropriations committee a heads up that the various items in here that we're recommending for funding, that we're saying, take these reversions that came from the Department of Labor. And here's how we're recommending to spend the money. DFR, Department of Financial Regulation. I think we support the governor's recommend.
Didn't see anything out of line.
No, I thought, Department of Financial Regulation makes money for.
I remember in our conversation with them, as we discussed maybe putting a note saying next year they may need to invest in.
IT.
IT. Not this year, but maybe.
Yes. So. Yes, how do we write that? So. It's kind of like, let's put this in the back of our mind that next year. We should be thinking about, additional funding for IT projects at DFR. And that would be for FY 28.
I'm trying to remember, did they ask for extra to start socking away for those improvements?
And then also. Bring for Common Good Vermont and then Vermont Against.
I don't know. There were some reversions also in the AHEC, but there was 1.27 million in reversions from AHEC.
Area Health Education Centers, AHEC.
That's
And
TFR,
no, this
Is a new
yeah, this is
heading.
AHEC.
it's they part of Department of Health.
Yeah,
Are they under Department of Health?
Vermont Department of Health.
Yeah.
Area Health Education Centers.
There's a reversion here.
Yeah, there's three reversions. There's 600, there's one, there are a total of 1.27 million reversions to the general fund. So
This is what they did.
healthcare put in.
So they put in bottom two. Here.
What does this column say?
This is
That's the amount. Yeah, but what do they
they're recommending, this is all they recommend. They just only put the things they recommend.
so they're recommending what though? That,
Early pipeline program in the replacement.
so they're recommending that they don't,
Yeah, but they stay.
but they're not recommending the preceptor program.
So
I think maybe it's because in the new health money we're getting from the federal government,
but it's
that it may be in there.
unless it's part of this one.
Maintain VSAC, that's not through VSAC though.
Okay.
The preceptor program was run by AHEC.
Okay.
But we
So-
didn't get any information on that.
Three reversions to the general fund of 1.27 million. We want to maintain the early pipeline program.
500,000. And then 50,000 for the MD placement.
Both of these are. Actually heard the MD placement is primary docs around the state and rural areas. So both of them are to help primary docs get. Have more primary docs in the state.
That wasn't the Maple.
But I think the MD.
No, this is
placement
something different.
is the one that they will rotate in different rural communities.
And so we don't know what they're doing with the 667.
Right, it wasn't in their letter.
And then there's 667,000. For that's a loan repayment, that's not preceptors. Preceptors was not a loan repayment. Preceptor was a $5 an hour increase in pay for nations and hospitals that became preceptors. That's a loan repayment. That's the one that went through global commitment. I bet it is. There anything in there writing?
This is the right.
find out more about that. 660, we can. We can understand. I think the first two, the recommendation is not supporting the reversion. Anything else? Yeah.
Common Good Vermont
Oh, yeah.
came in like the first week.
Yeah.
I also noticed they testified on 327 downstairs, so I don't know. I'm considering putting them in that bill. But what they asked for, they've apparently never gotten state funding. And they're looking for funding to support technical assistance for nonprofit business. About $500,000 in base and about $500,000 in. I can give the exact numbers. No, sorry, $250,000, $500,000 total. 267,777 in base and 295,665 in one time. I don't know where those numbers came from exactly. The base funding is to help nonprofits build capacity, and the one time is to help nonprofits respond to federal grants. So some of it had to do with like combining.
Make sure nonprofits are duplicating services.
Yeah, so a piece of it was about, like, they talked about succession, so like if like technical assistance to help them combine, for example. I mean, it's similar to sort of small business development center, but for the nonprofit sector. You want to put in the two other numbers that they gave us?
Please.
Base request 267,777. One time 295,665. Two nine five six six five. 295,665. Yep. Both were for technical assistance. Both building capacity and responding to federal cuts. I think it makes sense to be thinking of it in the context of 327, in the context of Small Business Development Center and others.
Didn't they go under SBDC?
Yeah, I talked to Linda about it. I think they are eligible, but they don't work with many nonprofits, but maybe that's, when we're looking at, when 327 comes to us, we could talk to Linda about that and Emma.
Yeah.
It is something that we could incorporate in that bill. I don't know if I checked, there isn't a beyond, I don't think, Rick, there isn't a new draft of 327 has not been updated.
Tomorrow morning.
So you're updating tomorrow morning. Right. My general feeling is that it's sort of in the context of that bill, but I do think there's a need. Especially to help them combine. Okay.
That's the way to go.
With this.
Yeah. We have that conversation when we get 327.
I think so. I think we could say, we see there's a need. We will be discussing this. In connection with 327, something like that.
At this time,
I think we'd want more understanding of exactly. how
Yes,
they
fine.
meet and-
committee. Guess the committee's neutral.
We'll wait until,
Yeah,
There's another bill that's dealing with their funding.
well, it's not their funding, it's the economic development bill from the Senate.
Okay.
That we can have conversations with SBDC, see if, you know, if there's availability for common good to be able to get some grant dollars through them.
Cause the SBDC funding is in that bill, is in the 327.
Well, I don't know how much of that, any of that funding is gonna make it through.
Something is in there.
I mean, I guess the one thing I'll put out is that I do feel like that this is kind of doing what we would hope that a lot of organizations would do as far as like corralling this area, and I think. And I was just looking back at their presentation, and that would, at least the 295, that's to support 100 nonprofits and a nonprofit task force that would, I think, continue this work, so. I think it's important, but I understand if it's existing in another bill. Happy to-
Well, it's non-existent.
Or not existing, but it can exist, it could exist.
Depending on. I think conversations that we really need to have before we can make a recommendation on whether or not, we really, all we took was
Yeah.
a little bit of testimony and.
I agreed. I think more understanding of.
Yeah.
And then the last thing on my spreadsheet is Vermont Adult Learning and the formula to allocate funds to regional centers.
Yeah. So this is AEL, Adult Education and Learning. So. Funding formula. I think, yeah, you can probably get it from Beth.
This was.
So the funding, yeah,
No, go ahead.
so I think we dealt with this last year, the funding formula, we asked AOA to have hold meetings with the four providers, with AOE, come up with a recommendation, so their recommendation, we heard that the last month, maybe.
Yeah. There was the three scenarios.
Well, so their recommendation was that the funding formula should be 85% of for students, 15% of student hours. So my understanding is in discussions with the chair of education, chair of appropriations, that we believe that funding formula for the next 2 years should be 85-15, and that the next because it's a 3-year contract, so the next contract is in 29, and that contract would be at 100% of
If I remember right, a challenge was about data collection too, like the. Right? That was not an issue,
That was
about how it's collected?
No,
Okay,
there are all kinds of questions. This 85-15 is a compromise.
I see. Okay.
so,
But it's the AOA recommendation.
Right.
For, you can just write, support the AOA recommendation for the
And then-
next 2 years.
And then knowing that the organizations have time to plan for the change. Good.
they didn't recommend funding formula for the next 2 years, they just recommended funding formula be 85-15.
I see.
What we're saying is that funding formula would be 85-15 for the next 2 years, and now in the next contract, the next 3-year contract that begins in 2029 would be 100%
I see.
of
Student
count.
student count.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, this is 85% student count and 15% seat time,
100%.
student count.
Student count. Understanding this will be the same recommendation that education is making.
Is that correct?
I think you spell it out that 85% is
Student
student
count.
count and 15% seat time.
Seat time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So glad I don't know what that means.
student hours.
The less I know about this, the better off I am.
There's somebody out there counting their seats all the time.
Mike, is there some kind of an automated process for tracking these kinds of future requests, or is it just the collective Hive memory that needs to track them, or?
Well, I'm sure there's gonna be eyes on this one to make sure that the funding is not gonna change in 2 years in the next contract.
Do you mean the
And
whole,
this-
do you mean this specific thing, the adult ed learning, or do you mean the budget?
Just in general, we've had a couple of things where we've talked about in the future, we want to see this. And,
Well-
you know, so I'm just wondering, is there, you know,
As
some,
far as this goes, we'll know what appropriations does. And then it goes off to the Senate, and then we'll see what the Senate does, and then in the end, we'll start looking to see where our recommendations are. And that's when we start to have discussions with approach to see if we can get them in or not.
thank you.
Beginning of the process.
We just done with this item?
I think so. Is everybody good with this?
Can I go back to two sections before? And the healthcare workforce issue? And I think,
Not sure on this one.
yeah, so the 667, I think is for primary care provider loan repayment.
Right.
Question mark, I think.
Yeah.
And I think there was also something in the governor's.
Primary.
Primary care loan repayment.
Yes.
That's a,
I think there's also something in the governor's budget language that remove or that that allowed a sunset for the for one of the loan repayment scholarship, I think, program to sunset. And from what I'm told anyway, there's existing money in the fund. So unless you continue to authorize the program, I mean, that money can be used for scholarships for primary care. And there's money there, and it doesn't seem to make sense. What's that?
Well, this is a reversion from.
Yeah, well, right. I just think that to accompany the notion of a not reverting, you'd have to, what do you need? Eliminate the sunset? Yeah, eliminate the sunset. I think, if I understand it correctly.
I think we need to find out what that is all about. We just take it out if we don't know what it is. And not weigh in on it one way or the other. Do you know, Jill?
Joseph Karen from Medical Society, what was the question?
Well, so there's these 3 reversions, right?
Yes.
And so the 667 for primary care loan repayment.
Yep.
I mean, I guess we don't understand why there's reversions. Why these programs are being cut.
I don't know either. This is just in the Department of Health budget.
Yep.
That they are cutting. It's essentially the program, and then the 667,000 for primary care loan repayment is extremely important to the state. Just so you know, it goes for primary care physicians. APRNs, certified nurse midwives, PAs, nurses, dentists, and NDs. And unfortunately, some people that are counting on this primary care loan repayment, this day here will not have it. So because you can get it, in consecutive years sometimes. In terms of the scholarship, that was a scholarship that was, put in FY 22. And we are asking for the sunset, to be removed, because the way that it works is that third and fourth year medical students could receive the scholarship, and they, for each year they received it, they would need to come back and serve in a rural setting outside of Chittenden County in primary care for 1 year. And so the way that the residency programs have worked, that first cohort is just starting to come back and do their service year. And so we've had 22 scholarships given and potentially have people coming back. And like Herb said, there's enough for 11 more scholarships. And so we feel like this is a vital program, and we shouldn't get it before we know the results of the impact of the investment.
The Medical Student Incentive Scholarship Program,
Yes.
so remove the sunset.
So no funding is needed now.
Okay, so we want to include that. I think that's a program that we worked on in here with our healthcare.
What's the name of the scholarship? Oh, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Are we doing it? Sorry, my battery's about to die, so I'm kind of planning
You have for
regular old Dell.
I'm like,
Just
I've got a Dell adapter, but I don't know if it,
The USB,
yours is USB.
well, it's the newer USB. Yeah, see.
Wow.
There you go.
A Mac charger.
Yes, it's gonna be fun. Let's see if it blows up.
Charging his Tesla out in the parking.
Plugged in, okay, thank you.
Get it?
All right. Medical Student Incentive Scholarship Program.
This committee supports removing the sunset.
Yes, they do have it in there.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just currently set for.
2027.
On the paper, they wrote.
You want me to read?
You'd have type. Sit down.
You want to? You chew gum too? We good with that? Good with the not supporting the removal?
Do you give any justification as to why they were virgin, or just is there?
Healthcare hear any of that, you know, Joe?
Just an appearing for the Vermont Medical Society, so the Department of Health came in, the commissioner did not want the program to go away. It was just a matter of Sophie's choice in terms of needing to do some cuts. We have amazing letters of support and share with the committee if they're interested. And it's a great program that it really operates on shoestring for my kids.
Primary care dog.
Yes.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Especially as we have this money coming in to stand it up, it makes sense to continue to fund it.
There anything else? There's nothing else. Everybody good with what we have on? I mean, Rick is gonna reformat this now.
You put that note
You bring
about,
that, you get 10 minutes, Rick.
Sure. Put it for AI, see what happens.
No, oh boy.
Oh, that's our next.
That's okay, we don't have regulations.
That's gonna be in our next bill, whatever bill, the next bill we work on. There'll be a provision in there that Ledge Council cannot use AI.
We don't use AI. We have our own governing, yeah, it's not a good, yeah.
Anything in there about hireability? Or just that we,
I
Did
don't
they come
think
to
we
us
did.
with the
They
request?
didn't come to us.
They-
Request, though.
I don't remember one.
Can we just kind of go summary real quick and spend 10 minutes at least? So again, it's going to be reorganized. We'll just start in order here. ACCD, you have 4 million for VHIP program-based funding. 350,000 for the Vermont Housing Finance Agency Down Payment Assistance Fund, which I think Rep. Granning sent me language for that specific. I have it highlighted for a reason.
That's a long time ago.
It was
Can't remember.
days ago. 800,000 for the Mobile Home Improvement Repair Fund. For economic development, you have 200 for the Vermont Professionals of Color, including reversion dollars, brownfields, any additional dollars that may be available. This one I have highlighted because I must have felt like there was not. I believe the Senate Economic Development Bill has this.
Yeah, they do.
At 3 million, okay. Leave as is for now. Okay. 150 for the International Business Office, and I'll reformat this because you have buried under there 75,000. I have buried 75,000 for the Southeast Asia office. Education, 15 million to UVM for their multi-use center. You support the purpose, but not the source of funding, being the Higher Education Trust Fund.
And you can stick to peace and air, cancer,
Yeah,
the UVM
around.
Yeah.
The 2.3 million from the higher ed fund to Vermont State University for the Freedom and Unity Scholarship. You support that. This one we kind of went over it quickly. The VSAC funding for basically 82 something thousand for dual enrollment and need-based stipend purposes for flat rate need-based stipend or voucher program for financially disadvantaged students.
I think that's in the budget now.
Supportive. That have VSAC language that Rep. Grannon emailed me. I have not looked at that, so I don't know what it is.
It's very close to what you have there, but
Oh, so there's not like a different request that you want to. I'll just do this to just make sure I look at the email. Advanced Vermont. We did that this hour or this afternoon. The higher ed funding, the 3% increase across the board. VCAP, talked about that one. DHCB. Okay, these are all we did this afternoon. So mostly this morning I was concerned about, but
We didn't do much this morning. Okay,
when you have me back for this,
what's your availability?
let's see.
Have any?
April, thank you. Someone laughed.
it was a fake laugh.
No, it's clearly a fake laugh.
It's a nervous laugh.
Tomorrow after 3:30 and after tomorrow afternoon, if you want tomorrow. I'm in here for H160 at between 1 and 2. The right to repair medical devices.
I don't, if you can put it together and get it to us tomorrow morning, we may have some time mid-morning where we could go over it. And if we're good with it, then we'll just send it on. And if we need to make changes, then we'll get it to you.
Sounds good.
That work for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Rick, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thanks for your help, too. Because I think that's good. Your help. So why don't we we'll take a 5-minute break back here at 3:45 to deal with it's 5:12.